Welcome back to the famous Room channel. The couples must marry before their visas expire in 90 days, or the visiting partner will have to return home. In the TLC reality show 90 Day Fiance, couples face a unique challenge to tie the knot in just 90 days before their partners have to leave the US. As the show's website explains, using a unique 90-day fiancé visa, the K1 visa, the foreigners will travel to the US to live with their overseas partners for the first time. The couples must marry before their visas expire in 90 days, or the visiting partner will have to return home. They'll have to overcome language barriers, culture shock, and skeptical friends and family, all with a clock that starts ticking the moment they step foot on US soil. Throughout the show's run, there has been speculations that some plotlines and even the couples themselves are fake. However, there are international couples who do find love and end up getting married. Now let's see who among these couples are still together and who have already divorced. 20. Divorced. Molly and Luis. Molly Hopkins and Luis Mendez were featured on the show's 5th season. Hopkins had met Mendes while she was on vacation in the Dominican Republic. The couple ended up marrying in secret within the 90-day period. However, their marriage became strained and the two eventually divorced. Since then, Mendes has remarried. Meanwhile, Hopkins told E! News, "I'm not dating anyone because I really am focused on my kids, myself and my business." 19. Divorced. Jenny and Sumit. The relationship between Jenny Slatten and her Indian lover Sumit had been quite complicated from the very beginning. Slatten even traveled to India to make the relationship work. However, as you may recall, Sumit eventually revealed to Slatten that he was already married since he had entered an arranged marriage. To date, the couple seem to remain in love. However, they're not exactly together. Sumit appears to be in India and Slatten is back in the United States. 18. Divorced. Jason and Kesha. Kesha Tavares and Jason Hitch were featured during the show's 2nd season. The relationship between the two became tumultuous after they got together. In fact, Tavares ended up calling the police on Hitch during an alleged altercation in 2017. Meanwhile, Hitch was first filed for divorce from Tavares in January 2018. This divorce was called off after the two decided to make the marriage work. Later in October, however, Hitch filed for divorce again, according to In Touch Weekly. 17. Divorced. Chelsea and Yamir. Chelsea Masick and Yamir Castillo also appeared during the show's 2nd season. Masick had been doing some volunteer work in Nicaragua when she met Castillo, a boy band member. When the two married, the couple lived with Masick's parents. However, they eventually split as Castillo wanted to move to Chicago to pursue music. Nonetheless, the two seem to remain amicable. 16. Divorced. Ashley and Jay. From the beginning, the relationship between Ashley Martin and Jay Smith has always been rocky. This is pretty much due to Smith's infidelity issues. According to E! News, Martin initially wanted to divorce Smith after 8 months of marriage. However, she eventually withdrew her paperwork. Just a few months later, Martin decided to call it quits again. In her Instagram stories, Martin also announced, "After officially getting back together again, I heard Jay got another girl pregnant." 15. Divorced. Daniel and Mohammed. Mohammed J. Bali and Daniel Mullins met through an online chat and starred on the show's 2nd season. After they became engaged, J. Bali moved to Ohio to be with Mullins. However, soon after they tied the knot, their marriage started unraveling. It also became apparent that J. Bali wasn't really attracted to his new wife. The two eventually divorced and initially, Mullins tried to get J. Bali deported. 14. Divorced. Colt and Larissa. On the show, fans saw Brazil native Larissa dos Santos Lima move to Vegas to be with Colt Johnson. As you may recall, Lima also ended up sharing the home with Johnson's mother, Debbie, and throughout her stay, the women bickered. Eventually, Lima and Johnson split, and according to a report from Daily Mail, Johnson had been selling Lima's wedding gown for just $500. 13. Divorced. Jonathan and Fernanda. Jonathan Rivera and Fernanda Flores were featured during the show's 6th season. The couple tied the knot, but several months later, they decided to call it quits. On a YouTube video, Flores recalled, "That same week I found a lot of stuff, not just underwear. Sex toys, pictures, movies and stuff. Dude, you're supposed to have left your past behind and start fresh with me." Moreover, she also hinted that she was in a really abusive relationship. Rivera denied this claim, telling E! News, "These allegations are completely false and my attorney will now be handling the situation." Now all the following pairs are still together. 12. Brett and Daya. Brett Otto and Daya DRC were featured during the show's 2nd season. After meeting through an international online dating website, DRC moved to Snohomish, Washington from the Philippines to be with Otto. Since then, it seems the two have remained inseparable. According to Reality TV World, DRC has since found a job and the couple now have a daughter together. Meanwhile, Otto also has a daughter from his previous marriage. 11. Josh and Alexandra. Josh Strobel and Alexandra Yarovikova's journey to marriage was featured during the show's 3rd season. Strobel had met Yarovikova while on a Mormon mission in Prague. After they started dating, Strobel proposed to Yarovikova while visiting her in Russia. They eventually married in the United States. Today, the couple remain happily married with 2 children. 10. Kyle and Noon. Noon and Kyle Huckabee met while Kyle was researching a vacation on Facebook. Noon initially thought that Kyle just wanted a free tour guide. However, it turns out that Kyle became pretty smitten with her. The two eventually married and settled down in Portland, Oregon. According to SoBird, Noon got a job in a cat hotel called Meow House. She's also expressed a desire to become a mom. 9. Elizabeth and Andrei. Elizabeth Pothast and Andrei Kastrovet met through a social app while both were on a trip to Dublin. Kastrovet is originally from Moldova, while Pothast is from Tampa, Florida. Kastrovet eventually moved to the US to start a life with Pothast. The couple also now have a daughter. Moreover, they also proud owners of a real estate company. 8. Danny and Amy. Danny and Amy Freesmith were featured during the show's 2nd season. They had met while on a Bible study trip in Australia. Amy then proceeded to move to the US from South Africa while on a K-1 visa. Since getting married, the couple has welcomed 2 children. On Instagram, Amy also posted, "I never planned to be a young mom and wife, but I'm also glad I said yes to God and to him." 7. Melanie and Devar. Melanie Bowers and Devar Walters' love story was featured during the show's 3rd season. Bowers met her now husband while she was vacationing in Jamaica. At that time, Walters was a lifeguard at a resort. After securing a green card, Walters moved to the US to be with Bowers. And although Bowers initially gave Walters a hard time, the couple's relationship remained strong. They also welcomed a daughter in 2017. 6. Matt and Ella. Matt Ryan and Ella Fedoruk were featured during the show's 4th season. The couple first met through an online dating service, but eventually lost contact with each other when Ryan married for the 3rd time. After he divorced, Ryan and Fedoruk reconnected. Since then, the two have remained together. According to Reality TV World, they have also settled down in Cincinnati. 5. Luis and Aya. The story of Luis and Aya Gatone were featured during the show's 1st season. Aya was originally from the Philippines and came to America on a K-1 visa to be with Luis in Indianapolis, Indiana. The couple had initially met in an online dating site. The two eventually married in a Catholic church, and Aya originally wanted Luis to move to the Philippines. In the end, however, the two decided to settle down in the US. In 2018, the couple announced that they were expecting their first child. 4. Loren and Alexei. Loren and Alexei Bravarnik first met while Loren was a birthright trip in Israel. Around that time, Alexei was working as a medic and the two were instantly attracted to each other. Since then, the two have been happily married. Last year, the couple announced that they were also expecting their first child. Meanwhile, just recently, the couple also announced that Alexei had been approved to become an American citizen. 3. Mike and Aziza. Aziza and Mike Iloshwe were featured during the season's 1st series. Aziza was originally from Volgograd, Russia, and met Mike through a language website. She eventually moved to the US to be with Mike. As you may recall, the couple initially had some bedroom issues. Since then, however, the couple has remained happily married. In January 2019, Aziza also showed off their first family photo on Instagram featuring their newborn daughter. 2. Ross and Paula. Ross and Paula Mayfield appeared during the show's first season. The couple had met while Ross was working in Colombia. They married and Paula moved to Oklahoma to be with her husband. However, Paula eventually moved to Miami to pursue modeling and Ross later joined her. In 2019, the couple welcomed their first child right around New Year's Eve. Of the experience, Paula told People, "While I was hearing the fireworks and people telling me Happy New Year, I was just focused on meeting my baby." 1. Justin and Evelyn. Justin and Evelyn were featured during the show's second season. According to In Touch Weekly, the two had met at a hot dog stand in Colombia during a rugby match at the 2013 World Games. They then spent 7 days together. 3 months after, Justin flew back to Colombia and proposed a week later. Although their relationship had been a little rocky at times, they remain happily married. Love each other, dear viewers, and best of luck to you all.